Hello, everybody. Welcome to Interviews and More with Dhanya Verma. Now, we are all aware that October 10th is World Mental Health Day. And this is a day which is earmarked, so to say, to spread awareness about mental health and other related issues. So I've been asked to make another video. I've earlier made a video on depression, the myths surrounding depression, and I was asked by my viewers to record another video and upload it on mental health. And I am not technically qualified to speak about it, so I am a little bit scared, to be honest. So I thought on World Mental Health Day, the right person to speak to would be Dr. Manoj Kumar. He is a psychiatrist and he works with MHAT Kerala. And if you actually go down to the website, mhatkerala.org, it's Mental Health Action Trust. If you go down to the website, I will leave the link below in the description box. Doctor works and he leads a team of psychologists and volunteers there, and he has been working in this field for a long time now. So let me first welcome him to Interviews and More. Thank you so much, Dr. Manoj Kumar, for being a part of this little endeavor of ours to spread awareness about mental health. You've been working in this field for a really long time, right, doctor? Tell me about it. Tell me
Well,
about your
yes,
journey first.
yes, it's been about 3.5 decades now, and it has spanned different states of India and different continents, so to speak. But for the last decade or and slightly more, I've been based in Kerala, Calicut to be specific, running a community mental health program for people with severe mental illnesses who are extremely poor. It's a free service. So it's nice to be back in one of your sessions. Thank you for inviting me today.
Yeah, before this, we met on the Happiness Project
That's right.
program. Yeah, and we had a nice long conversation during
Absolutely.
Happiness Project. I would like to bring your attention to this idea of how mental health has become a concern during pandemic, especially in 2020. I hear a lot of youngsters who communicate with me through Instagram and other social media about how they are coping up with the changes and how it is actually affecting their mental health.
Now, while we are going through this pandemic, like you have said, it has affected our lives in a major way for everybody. Economic hardships, poverty, the economy has shrunk, people have lost their jobs, displacement, and for people who still are working, especially women working from home while managing other things as well, increased demand on people who work from home, students, their lives are disrupted, and so on and so forth. As a result of all this, all over the world, there are reports that the mental health needs of people are increasing. And the pandemic of COVID could very well be followed by a pandemic of mental health issues as well. Unless, like today, World Mental Health Day, we make concerted efforts to move forward. The theme for this year is greater access, greater investment, and mental health for all.
What is the biggest hurdle that you come across when it comes to society or the way they perceive mental health?
The biggest hurdle continues to be the stigma that you mentioned at the beginning. We still do not like to have open conversations about mental health, especially our own mental health. Even bigger industries or corporations, it is a taboo subject. There's no opportunity for employees, for children, for students, college students to talk about their own mental health needs. Many schools have counselors, but in my experience, children do not access the counselors in their schools because of the same reason. So somehow we need to mainstream mental health and discussions about mental health. It should be quite okay, socially acceptable to talk about mental health and our own mental health needs. When we ourselves who are in the front line or in the limelight, like you, when we talk about our own mental health, mental illness experiences, that has a huge role, powerful role in mainstreaming this conversation.
If I have a disorder and I want to get access to a mental health professional, a psychiatrist or a psychologist, what is the route I should take? And do we have enough professionals working in this area today?
In many ways, it is relative. For example, compared to certain other parts of India, we are better resourced. But as I say, that's just comparative. In terms of numbers of professionals per population, we still lag behind uh, Western nations. The number of psychiatrists have increased, but the number of clinical psychologists and psychiatric social workers and others who are involved in mental health care have not really proportionately increased in keeping with the increase in the number of psychiatrists.
So I would like to look at the positive side of things, Doctor, in this scenario, because I feel that the biggest issue that any person has when he wants to reach out to a mental health professional is the fear of stigma. And now, because technology has opened up this avenue of accessing a mental health professional, a caregiver or a psychiatrist through mobiles, through websites, through a video call, I think in a way it has opened up a huge area where people have direct access without worrying about the stigma.
Now, to people who access us directly or through our website and through videos or phone, again, we have seen a surge in demand. And that is partly because of the fact that, like you said, to focus on the positive, this pandemic has also brought to the fore the need for increased mental health services. So that has been the positive side. We are more aware of the mental health needs, and therefore it gives us an opportunity to focus on the existing deficits and move ahead with plans to fill those gaps, particularly through internet-based access. Having said that, the care of long-term patients who depended on physically visiting the various hospitals or community mental health programs of the government run, again, difficulties in access and all might have happened.
In your knowledge, Doctor, what are the most blatant myths that you come across when it concerns mental health diseases?
So there is always more weightage given to the external circumstances, which most often may not be the correct thing. So in other words, more mental illness is attributed to stress and problems of living than is considered as a physical illness requiring proper diagnosis and treatment. Why medications work is because they set right whatever is going wrong in the brain. And we have very effective medications, particularly for depression, as you have highlighted. And unfortunately, that myth that it is environmental leads people to shy away from accessing medical care, that is psychiatric care or psychological care, instead of focusing on what they think might have led to the problem. For example, if someone commits suicide around the same time as an external life event, failure in exam, failure in love relationship, debts, immediately the way it is reported is that it is as if the death has been caused by that particular reason. Now, the problem in looking at it that way is that those are life situations which very often we cannot change. Economic hardships, for example. But most people with economic hardships will not commit suicide, will not even think of suicide. So it is something within us, a lack of resilience, perhaps, a biological vulnerability, perhaps, which leads to the manifestation of mental illness. For example, often it runs in families. So we know that those of us who come from families with mental disorders are probably more at risk of developing mental disorder at some point in their life, irrespective of the external events. So that one single thing, I think, is the most is what causes the stigma also, and what prevents people from accessing good mental health care.
As we wrap up this conversation, before I let you go, I would like to hear about one particular patient or some incident that actually shook you to the core as a psychiatrist, as a caregiver, as a person who people turn to, because I mean, as psychiatrists and psychologists, we consider, very normal people consider them that they have it all figured out. But has there been any incident which has really shook you up, and how did you see it through?
It's difficult to choose one particular instance because there have been so many. But what has been really humbling is that how delayed access is and proper care is. And two, once that access happens and once we get involved, how little does it take to change lives? That's very, very humbling. People with postpartum depression, which has gone on for months, sometimes years, and it has taken them quite long to access proper help. And once they do that with the proper medication and counseling, they just lives just blossom, and that has happened. Yeah, in the recent, many examples are there where people have seen your blog, approached us, and it has taken very little to help them get back their lives in shape. Proper diagnosis is required, and the most dramatic event was several years ago when a young woman who had almost been written off as a chronic schizophrenic patient, young person with a child, proper diagnosis and proper treatment led to her completely recovering. So that by this time she had been divorced, she was remarried. She got back to her studies and is now happily employed, mother of a second child, and so on. So many such examples are there.
That's indeed a very wonderful story. I mean, I hope many other people who are grappling with issues in their lives, with problems that they are not able to resolve, I hope they all turn to mental health care professionals, qualified professionals such as doctor and his team, or other people who are working. There are so many organizations working here in Kerala. Please do not hesitate to reach out and seek help if you think there is a requirement, or if you find somebody who really is in need of help and you think you want to help, please do not hesitate in reaching out. I will leave the description in the description box, the details of the doctor and the organization that he works for. You can seek appointment through his website, and your case will be treated completely on the basis of anonymity. So you can reach out without any hesitation whatsoever. All the description will be given below. And thank you so much, doctor. Thank you so much for your valuable time. I wish I could meet you in person and have this conversation one-on-one, but I think I have to save it for a later date. But thank you for sparing the time for me and being so kind. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I hope you will leave your thoughts and your comments in the comment section below so that I know what you're thinking about this particular interview of ours. Thank you so much. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.